everyone. Welcome back to S.O.L.I Podcast. My name is Solangela. Some of you may know me as Solangela. Today we have an amazing guest, Joe. Joe will tell us a little bit about Cape Verdean Museum today, and also we will get to know a little bit about his work in the Cape Verdean community here in Rhode Island, and also get to know how can we support the museum and the community. So Joe, welcome to the S.O.L.I Podcast. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to be a part of the Cape Verdean Museum?
First, thank you very much for the invitation. I appreciate it. And inspired me to be part of the Cape Verdean Museum. Is that the
who are you, and then what inspired you to be part of such of an amazing organization such as museum? Mm-hmm.
Well, I've been involved in the community for a long time, every aspect. And coming into the Cape Verdean Museum wasn't my choice, actually. It was Denise Oliveira. She's the founder of the Cape Verdean Museum. Mm-hmm. And she approached me actually out of nowhere. And I've known her for a while time. And I didn't know she was watching me that much. But she came in and she's like, Joe, I've taken to the museum as far as I can. Mm-hmm. I think you're the person I need to take it to the next level where it could grow, if you will. And that was an honor for me, her approaching it.
That's amazing. What would you tell us a little about, Joe, besides the museum? Who is Joe?
Okay.
Who's Joe known in the community?
Yeah, that's a big question, but I'll try to make it as quick as possible.
Okay.
Joe DeMoura, I was born in Cape Verdean Islands. I came here when I was 6 years old, lived in South Providence pretty much the better part of my life. Mm-hmm. And basically grew up in America as a Cape Verdean American.
Okay.
And through strong support from my mother and my family. I come from a big family. I'm number 9 of 12.
Wow.
So,
okay.
There's a lot of competition going on
in the house. Yeah.
But other than that, spent most of my life the standard, went to URI. Mm-hmm. And after URI, I did a little teaching for a little while. And then I stepped away from that. Started working in the community. Like I said, I've worked at the Washington Park Community Center, West End Community Center, Federal Hill House, as well as CACD.
Okay.
I've lived in South Providence most of my life, but it's not just the Cape Verdean community. I've been involved in the general community.
Thank you for sharing with that. So what does it mean to be part of, what does it mean personally to you and also culturally, the museum?
Like I told you, that's one of the biggest honors I've had.
You have.
Yeah, I've had some great jobs. Been part of a lot of different organizations, but this, I believe, is my calling, if you will. And like I said, I had no intentions of being part of the museum, and I was brought into it. But there's nothing has been more satisfying as far as work or my being professional, because it's a challenge that I wasn't ready for, but it seems to come natural.
Did anything came to your mind when the lady reached out to you? Or did you say, oh my God, this is such a big shoes to fill? Like, how am I going to do it? Did you had any thoughts?
The only thought I have is, wow. I was like, I didn't know that she thought so highly of me.
Of you, yeah.
And I mean, we tend to have a thing of not giving ourselves the credit we deserve, because I've been since 8 years old. I've been volunteering.
Oh, that's amazing.
With the Cape Verdean Independence Festival in Fox Point, which everybody knows is the biggest one in all the United States and the very first one. So community service is kind of a family thing in my family.
Yeah,
but just having that honor and helping the museum get to where it is now, it's like it's unbelievable.
Yeah, thank you. So I know at the museum they have a lot of special monuments and special pieces. Is there anything in particular that you like to share? What is like? I know everything is important there, but is there anything specific that caught your attention? Like when you talk about you made you feel some special or connecting more back home?
At the museum, there's so many different pieces and old pieces that I'm not sure, but you could pick out one in particular. For example, we have 4 maps there that's original from the 1600s.
Wow, that's amazing.
really begins to tell you the story of Cape Verde, which many people have heard of, but very few people know the full story behind it. And for example, I was telling you earlier, this coming soon in June, we're having a slavery exhibit about Cape Verde, slavery in Cape Verde and the global connection,
Yeah.
which is very important, not just for Cape Verdeans,
Yeah.
but for everyone to go, because one thing that I feel in our community, we have a problem connecting with each other is because we don't know much about each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
And when whatever you don't know, we're usually fear. We're
Yeah.
scared of what we don't know.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
the more you learn about different people and different aspects, things that you can connect with people with, the easier it is for you to work together.
Yeah, true. That is so true. Thank you for sharing that. So, what roles do you think Cape Verdean culture plays in America here, like especially here in Pawtucket? Like, I mean, Rhode Island, a lot of Cape Verdean. So, what do you think the Cape Verdean culture influenced the people here in America?
The influence is so great that most people don't see it because it's so subtle. Cape Verde has been part of the fiber of America. For example, a lot of people don't know Cape Verdeans were the first Africans to arrive in the United States outside of slavery. We came here as workers on the whaling ships, and we know whaling's been going on for
a long
4,000 years, and it was the main industry of the world.
Wow.
And but New Bedford at one point was one of the richest cities in the world because it was the whaling capital. And Cape Verdeans, we came here, but most people don't know how long we've been here. For example, there's record of at least 5 Cape Verdeans participating in the American Revolution. That's the beginning of America.
Yeah.
So we've been here a very, very long time.
I tried to search some documents, but I was never able to find something concrete. They did say there was 5 Cape Verdean from Brava that came in on the ship trying to help, but that's all I got. There was never the specific details. Like you said, it might be in a long time.
It takes a lot of digging. But now there's a Cape Verde museum where you could go dig.
Yes,
there's
that's
a ground for digging. But you mentioned Brava, and a lot of people, most of the older generations, they say we're from Brava. But that's only because when we came here, we were called Bravas. Not Cape Verdeans.
Oh, for
and
real?
we were either called the Bravas or the Black Portuguese because we were known as Cape Verdeans.
Black Portuguese,
So,
that is a good one. I never heard about it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people, like all the older generations that's been here for years, over 100 years. They'll say they're from Brava, but in reality, that's just what they told you when you came here. Because, in America, we tend to like to put people in a box.
Yeah.
Just like people oversimplify and say, Cape Verde is a mix of Portuguese and Africans, which generalizing, that's oversimplifying because Cape Verde had so many people coming to
Before.
it. No, after the Portuguese opened it, but it was a haven for pirates. And so many pirates went there. A lot of them settled there. So that's why you see such a rich mix in Cape Verde.
Yeah.
We'll go from different skin colors to white.
Yeah.
But it's such a big mix that you really can't oversimplify and say it's just a mix of that, even the language.
Yeah. Thank you. How do you feel like the Cape Verdean community has responded to the reopen of the museum? Do you feel like you guys had a good welcome and good feedback after reopen in 2021, you mentioned?
2021 is when we bought the new building, and 2022 is when we opened the new building. Because we were originally in East Providence, in a small space, 1,200 square feet.
Oh, that's small.
But we bought this one, and we was renting. Since I took over, I was like, no, we can't. There's too many Cape Verdeans here for us to be renting a space. And our history is too intertwined with American history for us not to tell our story. So in 2022 is when we finished remodeling the first floor and we reopened in Pawtucket. Because and people were like, why do you have a Cape Verdean museum in Rhode Island and not in Massachusetts where there's more Cape Verdeans? But wrong. Percentage-wise, there's more Cape Verdeans in Rhode Island than any other state.
Yes, I saw that fact too.
Yeah, there's a lot of Cape Verdeans in Massachusetts, but per capita, there's more in Rhode Island than any other state. And there's many in California and Florida, as you know.
Okay. What impact do you think the museum has on the younger generation to have that building in Pawtucket?
I think that's a great step because Cape Verdeans, this year we're celebrating 50 years of independence.
It's going to be
It's
amazing. Yeah.
amazing. And another amazing part is this year the museum is celebrating 20th anniversary. So it's an exciting year for us. And there's a lot of things going on. But the impact to young people is that's what the outreach I'm doing. Where we have school groups visiting. Well, I reach out to the different schools all over Rhode Island and in Connecticut. Next week, we have a class from Connecticut that's been coming for 5 years.
Wow, that's
a school
amazing.
there, an academy. Every year they bring the Cape Verdean students here to visit because our history is so grand and so rich and intertwined with American history that most people are not aware. For example, most Cape Verdeans don't know the first black person in Washington was a Cape Verdean who went and opened a barbershop and a restaurant.
Wow,
And
that's amazing.
the first person in Maryland to vote was a Cape Verdean, first black person. Wow. But we were known as Cape Verdeans, and a lot of times we're quiet people, if you will. So a lot of people don't know a lot of the exciting things that we've done to contribute to America, the development of America. And so we keep a great big connection with our country. We're back home, helping our families. So
True. And also, I saw recently that museum has connected with some programs such as like a Pawtucket a school, and I saw that you host some events at the museum. What else you have? Tell us a little bit about the connecting or working with the Pawtucket school, and also what other events that you have coming up to help.
That's a very important partnership we made with the Pawtucket School Department, whereas we take teachers. The second one just ended, but it's the second round we've done it where we get teachers, they go there, we teach them about the Cape Verdean culture, first of all in the museum. And then we have a teacher who works with them for 6 weeks on language skills. Learning basics so they could better connect with our students. So and this is something that our community needed, and we continue working on that. So another point, like we said, that partnership is great, but at the museum we focus on 2 programs, language and music. Because music is the biggest part of Cape Verdean culture,
Yes, it
if
is
you will.
true.
And language is the biggest part of anybody's identity. So we offer language classes where you can find it online, but in person in Rhode Island, we're the only ones who offer it. If you want to learn the Creole language, because like I said, we've been here for a long time. So a lot of Cape Verdeans have lost their native language. And so we feel it's important for anybody who wants it, they could come back and relearn their language that was lost through time.
Yeah, that is something too that me, as I've been here for 17 years and then have my kids here, I just feel like after a while it get lost, or the way that you speak, it get mixed up. I came in and all I say is like when you spend a lot of times and speak a different language and then you go home and you speak English still, so sometimes it just kind of, your Creole kind of go a little bit. And sometimes when I do talk to Cape Verdean, they be like, "Oh my God, yours is like a little bit. What are you saying? Is all mixed up." But that's what I feel like we can't forget our past. We need to use it, and I want to talk to my kids more. But I speak with them in Creole, right? And then they answer back in English. And I feel like a lot of parents go through that. What do you say when it comes to that? Because you have a kid.
I went
How
through
do you
that
do
with
that?
my son, and I was like, oh gosh. Because kids,
They go to
especially
school.
we're in the United States, we're like, I want to speak English. Forget about that. And they don't realize how important having that second or third language is. For example, I came here, I've been here for 45 years.
Yeah.
But I'm so proud that my mother, she didn't allow English in the house.
I noticed. I
did not lose the language, and every time I go back to Cape Verde, they was like, "You're an American. What are you doing speaking the language so well?" I'm like, "No, thank goodness for my mom." But I don't know if she may have done it for the right or wrong reason, but the fact that she did that,
good one.
I maintained my native language, and it's a big deal.
Yeah, I feel like I can feel it. Like I want my kids to learn and to be able not to just understand, because knowing another language is amazing. Because I can tell that I speak 4 languages, because Creole, Spanish, Portuguese and in English. So I feel like if they can get a little bit and not just understanding but speak is amazing because
Yes.
it make it easy. And then when you speak the same language to somebody, they feel more connected with you, and also they can you can feel like more comfortable to speak
Yeah.
up your stuff. Thank you for sharing all that. So and also I know you base it about you lately. You need more volunteer. You need more support. How can the listener help you support the museum as of right now?
That's thank you for asking that, because that's what we need help. As you know,
Definitely.
like I said, this is the very first Cape Verdean museum in the world, and there was no floor plan how to move it. So we've grown a lot, and we like to like for this now. This year we open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We added an extra day, so I need volunteers to help because one of the hard things, we're growing, but right now we can't afford to pay people yet to work there. So we work on volunteers. For example, I'm the executive director, but I don't get paid. This is
Yeah.
a labor of love for me.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why I said it's a great honor. And everybody else who works there, we're all volunteers. So,
Okay.
and the one thing I'm grateful for is we have very dedicated volunteers,
Okay.
but not many. So we look for and ask, especially high school students, juniors, if you could go there. It's a great opportunity not only to learn the history, but also it looks very great on your college
Yeah, to
applications.
connect with-
Working in the museum, because the museum is highly regarded.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're there, you're learning, and you're able to add that to your application, it's a great deal. I've helped many students get into college.
Yeah.
So I said, I don't mind mentoring people. Like I said, I've been here around for a
Yeah,
while.
for a while.
The local universities, they're all partners with the museum. Brown University, URI, Rick, we have a partnership with them. Bridgewater State University,
Yeah.
UMass, all these places we have partnership
Partnership
with.
with.
And that's how we continue to grow. You may not get the money, but the other perks are so great that many people
Can do
enjoy.
Yeah, no, thank you. So at the end of this episode, we will provide the links so they can go in the website for volunteering and any other ways that we as a community can support the museum. The other question that I have, as you were saying, the museum and the pieces in there is guarded. What do you do, the team there, to preserve the history and the pieces that is there?
That's the one thing special about our museum is 90% of the things that you see in the museum was donated by the public. The 10 pieces, the 10 really expensive pieces, we're grateful to an anonymous donor who donated, like those maps that I told you from 1600, it was donated by him. A lot of the original things there are donated by him. The other older things we have we brought from Cape Verde, because a lot of Cape Verdeans born here didn't have the opportunity to go there, so they could learn it here because it's original things that we brought from Cape Verde as well. So the community donates, and then we put it together to tell our own story, which is why we said we need a museum, because people telling your story is not the same as you telling your
them
story.
the story.
And no one could tell your story better than you. And that's why we
That's so
feel
well
the
said.
Cape Verdean Museum we need it because we need to start telling our story.
Yeah, I feel I agree that, and it's really important that we keep our story alive, because I feel like a lot of times people, me being around other people are from different background, they be where is Cape Verde, or where can I find stuff? I know what is the traditional food. So I feel like if we have something like this, people can always visit and go in the website or regard if any information that you're looking for. Talking about information and the pieces, are you guys planning and doing any like exhibits or showing things in the different location, or like right now is just staying at the in Pawtucket?
No, we have a traveling exhibit. Like I said, we have events at the museum, and we try to keep it busy so the community can stay connected. But we also have a traveling exhibit. We take to schools during cultural days. We take to universities. We take to places so for people who cannot go, that traveling exhibit. But Right now, we're planning one of our biggest exhibits yet, which will start June 1st, which is the slavery
Yeah,
exhibit.
we would like to take some of those information so we can
Yes.
share it
The,
and people will be
the
able to.
slavery exhibit, because many people don't, are not aware of the history, the Atlantic slave trade, which really began in Cape Verde. Because that was the first European port in Africa, as well as where it was easier because what they use divide and conquer. If you have somewhere you could take them off and stay there, that way is by the time slavery started in America in the 1600s, it had been going on in Cape Verde for 100 years.
Yeah.
The Atlantic
True.
slave trade, and you could say Cape Verde is the middle of the Middle Passage, if you will.
True. True. Thank you for sharing that. Do you faces or the museum in general any like challenges besides donating and volunteering? Do you think there was a challenge sometimes keeping the museum running?
Yes, that's the biggest challenge we have.
Oh no.
But that's why when we made this in 2020, when I was all set and felt, I was like, that's when we started this campaign to buy this new building. Because in minority communities, we tend to be afraid to do something like this because
It's big.
and the other board of directors, because I was like, it's time for us to start a campaign so we could raise money and join the community so we could buy our own property. And of course, everybody thought I was crazy. So it was like, are you crazy? And then it was like, you're really crazy because it's like, this is COVID. I was like, there's no right time to start
do it.
anything.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, no, the time's not right. And I was the youngest.
You have to
I'm the
dream-
youngest one in the board.
You have to
So-
dream big because that's and I feel like that's what it hold us a little bit. Like me, I've been wanting
fear.
to do this podcast for a long time,
Yeah.
but I keep postponing and postponing. I even did my first episode. It took me a month to post because we're holding back to something, think is not gonna happen, but we should just give it a
They
try.
say there's nothing to fear but fear itself.
Yeah, that's
But
so true.
we started, and everybody's like, "You're crazy." I was like, "Please, just let me do it." They was like, "All right, you do it." And by now, you see, the Cape Verdean community owns that building. It's 4,800 square feet.
Oh, that's amazing.
So we 4 times the size of where we were, and we owe very little in it. Hopefully, with more fundraising, we could think, but we was able to raise it, and the building now is worth 3 times what we
More
bought
than
it for.
wonderful. That's amazing.
And through grants, foundations, and the community joining together.
Yeah.
Now we own it, and I don't look crazy.
Yeah, definitely
Now
not.
I look like I know what I was doing.
Yeah.
So,
Hopefully, after this podcast, we will share the video. We'll get some listening to donate. If people want to donate, how do they go by? Like on the website? Is it a specific
yes.
thing that they have to do?
We have a supporter circle.
Okay.
The supporter circle, because it's a museum, because the first floor is a museum, second floor is the community space. That's where we
so
do
you use
art. We do have art exhibits, local artists or artists that come from overseas, or book signings, or anything that community. We have a conference room because it's a community space. So if people need to use the space, it belongs to the community. I'm the executive director, but like I said, I'm just there to run things. It belongs to all of us.
Yeah.
So, and how you can support the museum, if you go on the website, capeverdeanmuseum.org, you just go, there's a supporter circle link there, and become a member. And the membership is $10 a month. I wouldn't ask anybody. I was the very first member. I'm still the thing. I do $10 a month because I can't afford to pay $120 for the whole year.
Yeah.
So every month.
But I think even if it's
Yes.
it's small, when you add up, it's
When
something.
you
It
add
means
up.
something.
And that's what the whole campaign I saw them. I wouldn't ask a lot from anybody, but a little bit from everybody takes you a long way.
It is definitely amazing. So, what keep you going on a hard time over there? Like, what motivates you to keep going?
The same thing that's been driving Cape Verdeans since the 16th
whenever,
century, basically. The hope that we're going to get better and get better because, like Amilcar Cabral said, you should act as if you answered to and only to your ancestors and the children. So the children are the hope, our future, and our ancestor gives us the wisdom. Hopefully we could keep it going because when I did this campaign, I told them this is debt we owe to our children's children. This is for my grandkids. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like I said, language and knowing your history is the biggest part of identity. Remember, I came here and I couldn't speak not even a word of English.
Now tell me about
Not
it.
a word of English. And of course, kids, we get teased. And
Definitely.
But those same things that the kids were teasing me when I was a child, now it's the same thing those same friends applauding me for, like, wow, it's great how you've learned your history.
You have become.
And it's part of your identity.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm hoping we could get more kids there to see, your culture and your history is valuable.
Yes.
And not just automatically leap into, God bless America, but it's very easy to lose yourself here.
Yes. Yeah. And then a lot of times, as I mentioned before, you've been talking to people and they be like, oh, my grandfather is Cape Verde, oh, my great-grandfather is Cape Verde, but they don't speak English, they don't know nothing about the culture. But sometimes what they do like is about food, because that one, it was keep us connected.
It's cool. And of course, no one makes their culture more attractive looking than America. Everybody comes here, I want to be American. I want to, it's very attractive. But it's also, you want to be like everybody else. And the people who stand out are people who they are.
Yeah.
I was born there, but I'm a proud American, but a different American as well.
Yeah.
Like I have my own story that I keep close to my heart.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's better than American or better than anybody else, but this is what's
yours.
mine.
Yeah, that is
and
yours.
That's what I keep close to my heart.
And like I said, we so many Cape Verdean here and so many on the community, but what I do feel is everybody has their own story, and then everybody goes to their own journey here in America. So, and then sometimes is so different. So it might be from the same parents, or you come into the same household.
Different path.
Everybody's different path. Talking about path, how do you see the museum in next 5 or 10 years? How are you feeling? Like, what is the hope you plan?
Oh, you're trying to make me look crazy again. I dream big.
No,
so.
I'm just for the listeners to what they should expect.
I'm hoping that more people start supporting it, because, like I said, the Cape Verdean Museum that we have here, it's a very big deal. It's a very big deal because it's one of the major steps taken. This year we're celebrating 50 years of independence. But this museum is one of the big steps that's made since our independence. First, we got our independence in 1975. 1990, we became a multi-party democracy. And these are big steps that we're taking, and in 50 years, that's quite a big growth for such a small country that most people are not aware of.
Yeah.
But such a big part of world history, not just American history, but world history as well.
Yeah. No, and that is amazing, and I'm pretty sure with the listening today, we will have some supportive to donate, go in the support community so we can keep the museum alive. We have to keep our history, especially here in America, alive and keep going. What do you hope for the visitors when they go visit the museum to take it away when they come out?
Actually, so far, so good. Because if you look at our followers and people who visit, we've had visitors from 58 different countries.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, 38 states and 2 territories, Puerto Rico and Hawaii. And speaking of Hawaii, last year we had a gentleman come in. It was like, I came to try to learn more about my history. It's like, my mother's Hawaii, but my father's Cape Verde.
Oh my!
Because, like I said, Cape Verdean spread through the world.
Yes, true. We are everywhere.
Yes, and even so, people come from everywhere because this is the very first one in the world.
Yeah,
and I'm so happy that it's going this way and it's continuing to grow, because we're getting calls from Europe, all the different parts of Europe. We want to open a Cape Verdean Museum here. And in Cabo Verde, of course.
With the support.
With the support, the government has brought me there to go present. And I've talked to some of the mayors there who are ready to open one, especially in Cidade Valley, the original city in
Yeah,
Cape Verdean.
because there's a lot of visitors
Yes.
that we
And
should. I don't know
was
where
like, you
we've
guys don't have one.
we've
but
been lacking.
yeah, it's a big tourist attraction because we have a lot of World Heritage sites there, including Cidade Valley, which,
Yeah.
you know.
We should, yeah. No, that's amazing. So, what advice would you give it to like a Cape Verdean or any young entrepreneur or a Cape Verdean leaders or anybody that's trying to help and be involved in the community?
Just do it. I hate to sound like I'm a Nike, but
Yeah.
it's everyone thinks, you know, we all want to contribute to this world, but we all can't. Like some people don't
your
have
part.
time and don't have this, but we have to realize we all can make a difference. We all can help each other out because if like, for example, I can be the director and be there every day and open up, but you don't. So how do? You become a member of the supporter circle. And that's what exactly it is. You're supporting your museum. And like I said, if I can afford to support, I'm pretty sure anybody can afford
Yeah.
to
So you said you being in the community and you be service the community and you help around all different area. How would you say if a young person wants to not just being a part of the community, but if they want to start a business, if they want to be an entrepreneur, what advice as a father would you give that to them?
Again, just do it.
Just do it.
Because I started, for example, I retired. I was on the radio for 30 years. But I started DJing when I was 14 years old.
Wow.
And of course, I had to leave because, you know, they can't have two old men DJing in the clubs. You know?
Old men.
But, and also television production. I started that also when I was like 15. And by the time, before I was 18, I was already certified, but they couldn't give it to me until I was turning 18, you know? But it's just a matter of making the move.
Yeah.
Because we all, I know, myself included, we all have the best ideas and this and that, but we never act on it. So all we end up was a bunch of regrets. Oh, I wish I should have done this.
Yeah.
And congratulations to you. We were talking earlier. You just decided to get up and do it.
Yeah.
And that's the only way it gets done.
Yeah, I feel also the consistency and then the motivation. But a lot of the young people don't feel motivated or don't have support. I would say that for myself. When I came in at the beginning, I didn't know where to go, where to find information. So that's why I want to have this platform that, like having you for the museum, I will have a great speakers to talk about where can young people or anybody can find the information. I feel like sometimes that is lacking. We have the important thing in our hand all the time to go search, and then we search it and we put it away. But I feel it's important to just take that first step and then just do it.
Not only take that first step, but overcome that fear. That fear is the biggest thing holding you back or anybody else who has great ideas. But the thing is, just get out and ask. That's why I said if anybody wants to volunteer at the museum, I've been around. I've done a lot of things, and I'm willing to share because it's within our community. We have all the pieces we need to ensure success, no matter which part, where you want to go. If it's healthcare, if it's television, if it's
Child care
or anything, we have this in our community. It's just we don't share what we have.
True.
And that's why I try to make myself as available as possible.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get young people to go volunteer there. So of course it's because we need help,
Definitely.
but it's not something you're wasting your time.
Yeah, true. That's 100% agree. So Joe, what does being Cape Verdean mean to you? Like, I know you said you're proud of Cape Verdean, but what did it mean to be, especially here, representing being Cape Verdean in America? What does it mean to you?
Being Cape Verdean to me is actually a big deal. It's a very big deal.
Yeah.
And for me personally, I feel a big sense of responsibility.
Yeah.
Because, as you know, at the museum, you learn a lot of the history. And I read and see all the sacrifices people made before me, my grandmother, my great-grandfather, and I always think it was like, wow, all that they've done, and I'm just going to sit here and do nothing.
I cannot let that happen.
You can't let that happen, and none of us can. I don't think you can either, because, you know, it's taken a lot for us to get you and I sitting here now speaking like this.
Yeah.
20, 30 years ago, you think this would be possible for your mom?
No.
Okay, go 60 years, your grandmother. You think this would be possible?
Not even.
But because that struggle continue, you and I are here, able to sit here today, and hopefully we could do enough to so the next generation could be, much better than us. And I don't know what that looks like, but it's our job to continue growing.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more with you. For me, being a Cape Verdean I am proud, and anytime I'm very happy and proud to say I'm Cape Verdean. And when I think about being Cape Verdean, a woman Cape Verdean is like a beauty and happiness. Because I feel like any Cape Verdean that I talk to is just like, we are beautiful, we are gorgeous, smart, and then most of us here speak more than one language, and which is like amazing. And then talking about language, I would like when you mentioned that when you came in, kids were teasing you in school. The same thing with me. I feel like when I was out in work, I would say something and then they would laugh or they would giggly.
Yeah. But that's not because you're Cape Verdean. That's just kids are mean.
Yes, in general. And they were like, what do you mean? And then sometimes they don't know that, which is it's just like, now looking back, it's just like, oh my God, just leave it. But a lot of the times I feel somebody once told me that speaking multiple language or have accent is like
a sign of wisdom.
Yes, and also is the strength, is a gift, and not just like you struggling with pronounce the words to be the same, because we can't say the same, because we have multiple language and our brain is switching from one language to the other. And now I'm trying to raise my kids to speak Creole, but it's really hard. But at least they understand and they talk. But I want to keep going for them to keep to doing that.
No, I understand that, because when I was a kid, I took it personal. Oh, because I can't speak English, I'm going to learn this better than you. I ended up becoming a teacher.
So you can teach. That is so cool.
But then after finishing, and I didn't live in Pawtucket. I go to Pawtucket. You're a Cape Verdean? Because, I've been here so long.
After a while, you're not going to talk like...
you transform into an American kind of thing. And I was like, yeah, I'm Cape Verdean. Really? So I start speaking the language. Oh.
A lot of time, and then we get mixed up a lot. They would think like we are Dominican, or we are Black American, or sometimes they think we are from Haiti, and they start talking to the other person something like different. I will ask you, what is like the funniest thing that you feel like people assume that you from other culture, and then they talk sometimes in another language and you understand.
No,
can you think something funny or like that? Like what?
There's so many stories, because
Tell us one.
It's there's so many. Even because I grew up in South Providence, so I don't look Cape Verdean. So even school, because the ESL classes, sometimes I'd go downstairs, like in middle school, and go visit my cousins who had just recently came, and then you hear them talking about, how does he know this one? He's from upstairs, the American part of the school and stuff.
Oh my God.
Then I turn around and speak to them, and the embarrassing they see in their faces. Or even here in South Providence,
they would
I had a lot of Dominican friends. And some of them, those who didn't know me would say something, and then I respond to them in Spanish. They'd be like,
yes, exactly. That's what happened with me often. But one thing I'm gonna ask, like I've been like I mentioned to you, I work in the agency for a while, and then the paper it says for Cape Verde, to identify their ethnicity. A lot of the Cape Verdean that comes to apply, they don't select the Black African American or anything like that. In the bottom, they will put Cape Verdean, or they select that they are Portuguese. What would you say that? I know a lot of people might get upset about this.
I understand that, and
some people might get upset about this topic. But what do you tell me about that?
I'm so happy I could explain that, because most people, since I was saying, Cape Verdeans don't think they're Black, or this, I know you must get that. But let me explain it, and please use it. Anybody, please use it. It's not Cape Verdeans don't think they're Black. It's America. In America, Black is an ethnic group. It's not a color or thing. And that's how I had to explain to my friends. It's like, no, it's Cape Verdean. I mean, black took over African Americans or thing is describing a people. And that's why Cape Verdean says, I'm Cape Verdean. You can't deny I'm black.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But that's the whole confusion. Black is an ethnic group here, just like Cape Verdeans are an ethnic group. So how can I leave my group and say I'm this? It's like, no, black is not a color or a people. It's just like, you ask anybody, oh, I'm Nigerian, oh, I'm Liberian, oh, I'm from Ghana, I'm from Cape Verde.
Yeah.
And so it's not me denying anything of being black. I think that's going to be hard for me to do.
Yeah,
to
that's
say I'm not black.
That's why
But it's just that it's the words, because black is an ethnic background. Black is what African Americans are. People who came here who were born here. They're African Americans, but Cape Verdeans is an ethnic group as well.
Yeah.
So that's the whole confusion, but that's how it's meant to be. So to keep us separated anyway.
Yeah.
It's not us that do it. That's the system of oppression.
Yeah.
Which is divide and conquer. As long as we don't get together with the African Americans, where the system is working. If we don't get along with the Dominicans or the Puerto Ricans, the system's working.
Yeah.
So we keep arguing about these little things that make no difference.
Exactly.
And so that means the system's working perfectly.
Yeah, Joe,
as long as
we definitely need to talk more about this. I would be happy to have you back. But before we wrap this up, I would like... again, how can the listeners support the museum? Tell us one more time before we finish. I would definitely put your website information on the end so people can see. But tell us a little bit more about how they can support the museum. And then thank you so much for taking your time and being here with me.
No, I appreciate it. And the way you could support it is go visit. If you're not ready to visit, go to the website and read about it. And I invite everybody because we're so well connected. Everybody's connected, just we don't know how
we can learn a lot
and
from
if you learn a little bit about this person, then we no longer have reason to fear each other.
Yeah.
And like I said, and I'll keep repeating, fear is the only one that's keeping us in one position. Okay.
Thank you so much, Joe, for sharing that. Everyone, thank you for listening and stay tuned. We'll be sharing below. It will be all the information that you can support Cape Verdean Museum. Please go visit, and I'm sure you will learn more about the Cape Verdean history, especially here in the United States. So thank you for listening and stay tuned for more episode. Thank you. Again, my name is S.O.L.I, and thank you for listening to S.O.L.I Podcast.